everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and I'm so happy to have you here again.
And I'm Julia. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited because today's episode is about something every English learner needs to get better at listening.
That's right. Listening is one of the most important skills in English learning. In fact, it's the first skill you develop even before speaking. When you were a child, you listened before you spoke, and it's the same when learning English.
Exactly, Jason. Many learners want to speak fluently, but they forget that good listening leads to good speaking. If you can understand English clearly, you can speak more naturally and confidently.
In this episode, we'll talk about why listening is so important, what common problems learners face, and how to train your ears to understand native speakers better.
We'll also share lots of practical tips, fun activities, and a listening challenge at the end to help you improve faster. So, make sure to stay with us until the end of this episode.
Yes, and remember, you don't need to be perfect. Improving your listening takes time and practice, but it can be fun and easy if you do it the right way.
So, get ready, relax, and let's begin this journey to better English listening skills together.
So, Julia, let's start by talking about why listening is so important when learning English. Many learners focus only on speaking, reading, or grammar, but listening is really the foundation of all of these.
That's so true, Jason. Listening helps you understand how English really sounds in real life. When you listen, you hear how words are connected, how native speakers pronounce things, and even how emotions are expressed in speech.
Exactly. For example, when you hear native speakers talk, you learn rhythm, tone, and speed things you can't learn from a textbook. It's like training your ears to recognize patterns of natural English.
And the amazing part is, the more you listen, the more your brain starts to think in English. You stop translating word by word, and you begin to understand meaning automatically.
That's when real progress happens. Listening builds not just understanding, but also speaking confidence. If you can understand English clearly, your speaking becomes smoother and faster.
I agree. It's like when a musician listens to lots of music, they become better at playing. In the same way, if you listen to English every day, you become better at using English.
Beautifully said, Julia. So remember, everyone listening is not just one skill. It's the heart of language learning. When your listening improves, everything else, speaking, pronunciation, vocabulary, grows naturally.
Exactly. That's why today's episode is all about helping you become a better listener step by step.
Now that we know how important listening is, let's talk about something every English learner experiences: listening problems.
Yes. Many learners tell us, I can read English well, but when people speak, I don't understand them. And that's very common, right, Jason?
Absolutely, Julia. One of the biggest problems is that native speakers talk fast. They connect words together, and sometimes they even drop sounds. For example, going to becomes gonna, or want to becomes wanna.
That's right. And many learners expect to hear every single word clearly, just like in their textbook. But in real life, people speak naturally with speed, emotion, and different accents.
Speaking of accents, that's another challenge. English is spoken all around the world: American, British, Australian, Indian, and each one sounds different. Learners often understand one accent, but get lost with another.
Yes, and another problem is that many learners try to translate every word in their head. This slows down understanding. Instead of focusing on meaning, they get stuck on one word and miss the next sentence.
Exactly. And sometimes the problem isn't language, it's focus. Learners may get distracted or lose attention after a few minutes of listening.
That's so true, but don't worry, these problems are normal, and we'll show you how to fix them one by one in this episode.
Right? By the end of this podcast, you'll know how to handle fast speech, different accents, and even understand without translating.
Sounds great. Let's move to the next part, understanding different English accents.
So, Julia, in the last part, we talked about how accents can be one of the biggest challenges for English learners. Let's explore that a bit more.
Yes, Jason. English is spoken all over the world, and it sounds different in every country. For example, American English, British English, and Australian English all have their own style, pronunciation, and rhythm.
Exactly. For instance, an American might say water like water, while a British person says woe to. Same word, just a different accent.
That's a great example. And for learners, hearing these differences can be confusing at first. But the good news is your ears can learn. The more you listen, the easier it becomes to understand any accent.
That's right. It's like training your brain. At first you might think, oh no, I can't understand this accent. But after a few days of listening, you start to recognize patterns and sounds.
And it's important not to avoid accents. Many learners only listen to American English, for example, but in real life you might talk to people from the UK, Australia, India, or even Africa, so being flexible is key.
Totally agree. Try to listen to a variety of speakers' podcasts, YouTube videos, or movies from different countries. This will help you become a more confident and global English listener.
Exactly. Don't worry if it's hard at first. Just enjoy the process. And remember, every accent you understand makes your English stronger.
Beautiful advice, Julia. All right. Now let's talk about something every learner needs to understand: how to listen for meaning. Not every single word. Now, Julia, this next part is one of my favorites, listening for meaning. Not every single word.
Yes, Jason. Many English learners think they must understand every word to understand the message, but that's not true. Even native speakers don't catch every word sometimes.
Exactly. When we listen, we focus on the main idea, not the small details. If you understand the topic, the tone, and a few key words, you can usually understand the meaning.
That's right. For example, if someone says, "Yesterday I went to the market, bought some fruits, and met my friend," even if you miss one or two words, you still know what happened.
Yes, that's called listening for context. Your brain fills in the missing parts automatically when you listen actively.
And that's a skill you can practice. When you listen to a podcast, don't stop when you hear a new word. Keep listening. Try to guess what it means from the situation or tone of voice.
Exactly. Understanding meaning is more important than understanding every word. And the more you listen this way, the faster your comprehension improves.
So remember, listeners focus on the story, not the small words. When you listen for meaning, English becomes easier and much more enjoyable.
Perfectly said, Julia. Now, let's move on and learn how to become an active listener, not just someone who hears, but someone who truly understands. So, Julia, we just talked about listening for meaning, not every word. But now, let's go one step further, active listening. What does that really mean?
Good question, Jason. Active listening means you are fully focused when you listen. You don't just let the words pass by. You try to understand, repeat, and remember what you hear.
Exactly. Many learners listen passively, like playing a podcast in the background while doing something else. But active listening is different. It means paying full attention.
Yes, and there are some great ways to practice it. One method is shadowing. You listen to a short part of audio, then repeat it right after the speaker. This helps with pronunciation, rhythm, and memory.
That's a powerful technique. Another way is to summarize what you hear. After listening to a short video or podcast, try to say what it was about in your own words. It's okay to make mistakes. What matters is that you think in English.
I love that. You can also write down new phrases or words you hear often. Then listen again and see how they're used in sentences.
Yes. The key idea is, don't just hear English, work with it. The more you engage, the faster your brain adapts.
Exactly. Active listening makes your practice powerful and effective. So next time you listen, be present, be curious, and be active.
Perfect advice, Julia. Now let's talk about how to use some fun tools like podcasts, movies, and YouTube to make your listening practice more interesting. All right, Julia. Now let's talk about something fun using podcasts, movies, and YouTube to improve English listening.
Yes, these are amazing tools because they let you hear real English, not just textbook English. You get to listen to natural conversations, accents, and expressions.
Exactly. But the secret is to use them the right way. Don't just watch or listen for fun. Listen actively. Try to understand the main idea, pause, repeat, and write down useful phrases.
Right. You can start with short videos or beginner-friendly podcasts. Watch with subtitles first, then try again without them. This will train your ears and boost your confidence.
And most importantly, enjoy it. When you learn through things you love, like movies or YouTube, your listening skills grow faster.
Absolutely. Learning becomes both fun and effective.
Perfect. Now, let's move to another powerful technique, the power of repetition and shadowing. Julia, one of the best ways to improve listening and speaking at the same time is through repetition and shadowing.
Yes, Jason. Repetition means listening to the same audio many times. Each time you'll catch new words and understand more clearly.
Exactly. And shadowing is when you listen and speak at the same time. You try to copy the speaker's tone, rhythm, and pronunciation just like an echo.
That's right. It's one of the fastest ways to train your ears and mouth together. Even 5 minutes a day can make a big difference.
So, everyone, don't just listen once, repeat, shadow, and master it.
Well said, Jason. Now, let's talk about another useful tool, how to use subtitles wisely when listening.
Now, Julia, many English learners use subtitles when watching videos or movies. But how can they use them the right way?
Good question, Jason. Subtitles can really help, but only if you use them smartly. At first, you can watch with English subtitles to connect sounds with written words.
Exactly. But try not to depend on them all the time. After watching once with subtitles, watch again without them. This helps your ears do more of the work.
Yes, and avoid using subtitles in your own language that keeps you thinking in your native language, not in English.
That's a great tip, Julia. So remember, subtitles are a tool to guide you, not something to rely on forever.
Right. Use them to learn, then slowly let go as your listening improves.
Perfect. Now let's talk about something really important, how to build a daily listening habit. Julia, one of the most important things for improving listening is consistency. You need to make listening English a daily habit.
Absolutely. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a big difference if you do it every day. You can listen while walking, cooking, or commuting anytime you can focus a little.
Yes, and the key is to keep it simple and enjoyable. Choose topics you like: movies, podcasts, or music. When it's fun, it's easier to stick with it.
Exactly. Remember, small daily practice is better than long sessions once in a while. Your ears will gradually become used to English sounds.
Perfect. And to make it even more effective, we have a small listening challenge for our listeners next. Julia, let's give our listeners a mini listening challenge to practice what they've learned today.
Yes. Here's a simple one. Choose a short English podcast or a 2 to 3 minute video. Listen to it twice. The first time, just listen for the main idea. The second time, try to catch new words or phrases.
Exactly. And here's an extra step after listening. Repeat 1 or 2 sentences aloud using shadowing. Try to copy the pronunciation and rhythm.
That's a fun and effective exercise. Doing this for just a few minutes every day will make a huge difference in your listening skills.
So, listeners, take this challenge and practice for the next 7 days. You'll be surprised at how much your understanding improves. Julia, before we wrap up, let's talk about some common mistakes learners make when practicing listening.
Yes. One big mistake is listening passively, like playing audio in the background and not really paying attention. That doesn't help your brain improve.
Another mistake is focusing too much on grammar or translating every word. This slows down understanding and makes listening stressful instead of fun.
And some learners avoid difficult accents. But if you only stick to one accent, you'll struggle when talking to people from different countries.
Exactly. The key is to listen actively, accept mistakes, and expose yourself to different types of English.
Right. Avoid these mistakes and your listening practice will be much more effective.
Perfect. Now let's move to some final advice and motivation for our listeners. Julia, before we say goodbye, let's give our listeners some motivation and final advice.
Absolutely. Learning English listening takes time, and it's normal to feel frustrated at first. But remember, every minute you spend listening, your brain is learning and adapting.
Exactly. Don't worry if you don't understand everything immediately. Progress comes slowly but surely. The key is consistency and practice every day.
And make it fun. Listen to topics you enjoy, repeat your favorite phrases, and try to talk along with what you hear. Celebrate small improvements, they add up.
Yes. Remember, listening is the foundation of English fluency. Keep practicing, stay patient, and soon you'll notice a big difference in your understanding and speaking.
So listeners, keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. You're improving every day, step by step.
Perfect advice, Julia. Now, let's close with our outro and call to action. And that brings us to the end of today's episode on how to improve your English listening.
We hope you found these tips, techniques, and the mini challenge helpful. Remember, practice a little every day, stay active, and enjoy the process.
Yes, and we would love to hear from you. Share your progress, your favorite tips, or any questions in the comments section.
Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new lesson.
Exactly. And if you know someone who wants to improve their English listening, share this podcast with them. Let's help more learners succeed together.
Thank you so much for listening. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and we'll see you in the next episode.